Welcome back to the Grannon Podcast. First Draft Films from Indie to Hollywood, and today we have another very special guest for you. We have the wonderful VaNessa Guhlke with us today in the studio.
Hello.
Hello. Inaugural podcast episode recording, because you've never been on a podcast before.
I have never. This is my podcast debut.
Podcast debut, yes.
Wow, that's exciting.
So, getting us into this podcast mode, we're going to start off with our Grannon quick facts.
I'm not a morning person. I am a zombie in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact about me is I have a zombie morning voice. It's terrifying.
Which is why we're recording at 8 p.m. instead of 8 a.m. That and a number of other reasons that are not related, but it all works out.
Work.
Yeah.
Totally not related.
Yeah. My quick fact is the coldest recorded temperature in Yakima is negative 28 degrees Fahrenheit. And that was in January of 1909.
Disgusting.
I know. I don't know what that would have felt like. Not good. I'm glad I wasn't around back then for another multiple reasons. So, yeah. Alrighty. So, we're going to briefly introduce our topic, and then we're going to go into what are we working on and what are we watching. Our topic is improv acting, which is super fun. VaNessa, you are an very active member of the Yakima Improv Society.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would love to hear all about that and how that's going and share some of your expertise. And Brooke has also, she's taken a little bit of a break for now, but been involved in the aforementioned society. So that'll be really cool. But before we do that, we're going to talk about what are we working on and what are we watching. Brooke and I are working on the Isabel Project and podcast editing. That's about it.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm working on formulating something to film. I'm working on pre-production for something coming up, hopefully in about a year.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do we get to know any details, or is it going to be super ultra secret?
It's going to be super ultra secret
Okay.
for
Nice.
right now.
We respect that.
Something to look forward to learning in the future.
Yes. Awesome. And what are we watching?
Let's see. I recently watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That was actually pretty good. I did not
Tarantino,
know.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Too many feet, but I digress.
What else would you expect?
I did not know going into it that it was it was a retelling of a true story. And so the whole time I was confused. Well, I wasn't confused. I was intrigued by Margot Robbie's character. Have you guys seen the movie?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the whole time I was really intrigued by her character, and I was like, what is she? Who is this Sharon Tate? And what is her purpose in this story with these two half-bum filmmaker, stunt double actor guys? And so then it gets to the end, and the whole fight scene happens, and the bad guys die, spoiler alert, but the good guys don't die. And then I'm like, okay, that was cool. And then my boyfriend had to explain to me that it was based on a true story where Sharon Tate actually was supposed to die, and it was like a twist. And so I was like, oh, that's really cool. So
Did
Nice.
you do a deep dive afterwards?
not super deep, but like a little bit. I didn't know that the cult thing was like a thing. I don't know. I just thought it was a whole fictional tale, and it was really good. And then once I learned it was true story.
The name Sharon Tate does sound familiar.
What was the cult? Was it the Manson? Yeah, Manson.
Okay.
Cult went and killed Sharon Tate for some reason.
Gross.
Yes. I wish I
are
remembered
not
the
good.
reason.
Yeah. Okay.
Cults are not good.
How about
Fun
you?
fact of the day.
That's the bonus fact. Cults are bad. Okay. How about you, VaNessa? What have you been watching?
Well, last night I went to go see Godzilla -1 in theaters, and it is the first time I have ever cried during any Godzilla film.
Nice.
Like, oh my gosh, you have to see it. It's brilliant.
Nice.
It's brilliant.
Awesome.
I just watched Be Kind Rewind, and it's it's not as epic as Godzilla, but it is brilliant. Like, it's so good and just heartfelt.
What's it about? A little bit.
Well, it's about this town it's about this video shop that's like closing down. And the owner goes out of town to try and spy on other. Oh my gosh!
Other
I say
video
a
stores
lot.
or something? Yeah.
Yeah, other stores to see what they're doing wrong. And while they're there, Jack Black's character, he somehow gets magnetized, I think is what it's called. I don't know. But he erases all the films.
Oh my gosh.
And so they go through and they remake all the films. It's like indie filmmaking.
Whoa.
That sounds awesome.
And they work on this big film project at the end of the movie to try and make money to save the film, or not the film store, the what are they called? You rent movies there, the video store. Yeah. And the whole town comes together, and it's beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was that also in theaters too, or did you watch that on
Oh
streaming?
no, that came out in 2008.
Okay, never mind.
I saw that on Hulu.
Cool. I will add that to my list. That sounds
Nice.
like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I've also watched some movies recently. A couple of indie films actually. So Marana Part 1. I watched that. That came out at the end of December. That's the anthology of a bunch of filmmakers around the world, including some awesome folks we know. And I think he's doing it in 4 or 5 parts. And that's like, the premise is there's like a big comet coming and it's going to blow up the whole world. And it's like the last 5 days of human existence and how are people reacting and stuff. So it was really cool just seeing a bunch of these different characters and and everything and their little plot lines. And it's super cool how he added everything all together too. So yeah, I'll be looking for, I think part 2 is coming out soon. But anyway, yeah, I don't know exactly how many parts. I also watched another indie movie called Not Now by Ethan Stevens. And that was like, it was sad. It was kind of like dating in the modern age of hookup culture. And this guy who's kind of a jerk, but he is looking for true love, but he's kind of going about it the wrong way and all this stuff. And anyway, but that was fun to watch as well, even though it was sad. But anyway. Yeah, that's what we've been watching. Some good stuff, it sounds like. Oh, and Alchemy of Souls, of course.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Season 2 is growing a lot on me. We're in like halfway through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not like it at the beginning.
No.
I didn't hate it, but I was like, this is just this is too different from season 1. I don't know. I don't really feel this.
There was a time gap. They replaced the main actress, which it was for story reasons, not for like actor behind the scenes reasons, but like now that that's been explained,
then I felt a lot better about that.
As somebody who has never seen the show, just hearing you guys explain it sounds like Doctor Who.
I've never seen Doctor Who. I can neither confirm nor deny.
I can deny. I've seen Doctor Who. This is a Korean drama.
Listen.
You would probably love it, actually.
Yeah, you probably would.
I have a thing for Korean dramas.
Yeah.
It's low-key.
No, I have no idea where to start with Doctor Who because there's like 5 bajillion and 3 seasons, and I just have no clue. And everybody's super opinionated about which one is the best, so I don't know.
That's fair.
I think the most palatable one would
to
start with, because it's overwhelming.
It is
Okay.
overwhelming.
It's crazy overwhelming. The most palatable one to start with would be 9.
Mm-hmm.
Start
Okay.
with 9.
Yep.
And that's the modern doctors.
Okay.
But you can stop after the 11th.
You
Or
can stop
partway
after
through the 11th.
Okay. I will remember none of this. You'll have to remind me off camera.
Yeah. Honestly, we should watch season 1
Okay.
of
Just
the
to like-
revival.
Okay.
Because it's truly good. Just as filmmakers, we should watch that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, to get back to our topic. So, improv acting. I'm not much of an improv person, so take it away.
Let's start with
Improviser?
improv. Go.
Go.
Let's start with how long have you been in improv?
How long have I? Oh, wow. You took me to the first drop-in class. Do you remember when that was? Because I honestly don't.
It was either 3 or 4 years ago, I believe.
I think it was
I think I was
Yeah.
at that one.
Yeah, you were.
I struggled.
You were fine.
I was
Acting's
fine.
not your strong suit, but I thought you were good.
Okay.
I think it's just about like getting out of
Mhm.
the mentality of like
Being self-conscious, that's my issue.
Yeah.
I'm very self-conscious.
Well, and that is the thing about improv is like you can't be self-conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that like it's actually helped me a lot with that because I used to be. I mean, I still am self-conscious. I'm not gonna lie, but I used to be a lot more self-conscious, and now I'm like, I don't give a flying fart right now. I'm doing great. I'm just existing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah. It really helps break down those kind of public speaking barriers because you can like put on a different like character.
you can. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just throw on this different character.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I've noticed is I went from throwing on these crazy random characters who were just not someone you would see on day to day to making my characters more real and relatable to myself and to what's happening, going on. Sorry, what's going on in my life.
That's really cool. How do you think that has impacted your acting?
Oh, it's had a big impact because when you're watching a film, at least it depends on what film you're watching. What I do is I will watch a character and I'll see how real they are and how realistic it is, just because that's how my mind works. And I applied that to on the stage, and I think the easiest format to apply that to for me, like when I started doing that, was the Who Done Did It, because it's this whole town of real people, and they have to coexist with each other, and you have to connect with each other, and being real is really what made it easier. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah.
Answered your question.
I think that's a fine answer. So do you want to explain to us the difference between improv acting and then like being a comedian? Because a lot of people will kind of like lump those together.
Mm-hmm,
Not pointing fingers or anything behind the camera.
Well, being a comedian, you formulate all your jokes, you write them down, you study them, you practice them, you rehearse them, you practice all your funny stories, you have them pre-planned. Being an improv actor, you walk out onto a stage or wherever you're at and you get a suggestion or you just go. Like, it's all completely unplanned. It's all just training.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. Yeah. I think I've been doing improv for like 7 years now. 6 or 7 years. And I've never delved into like open mic nights or comedy bars or anything because they're like two totally different things. And I've had people ask me like, hey, do you ever do this kind of thing? And I'm like, no, that's not the thing. So I really like sharing that information because people like to just, not pointing at you, Dan, other people.
I am. No, I totally get the, I can kind of get it, like with Whose Line Is It Anyway? It's all, there's comedy, improv, and it's a lot of fun. It's just silly. You're just saying whatever.
Yeah.
You get to come up with these crazy, fantastical characters and exist as them, and they're silly, and they do,
Yep.
And it's funny, but that's not all that improv is. Like, we've done a lot of, I forget what it's called. I'm going through the courses in my head that Matt and Nicole set up.
Matt and Nicole being the people who run the Improv
Yeah,
Society.
Yeah. So improv to main stage would be like theatrical improv, like theater improv. There we go. That's
Nice.
what it is.
So a little more dramatic versus comedic.
Yeah.
That's really cool. How do you think the audience reacts to a drama improv versus a comedy improv?
Oh, the audience.
That's one thing I don't pay attention to as a performer.
Well, that's the thing. So when I'm performing on stage, I'll get feedback like just by hearing it,
Mm-hmm.
hearing claps and cheers and applause. When you're doing something that's not funny, where you just sit there and some people cry or are just sitting there shocked that it got serious all of a sudden, like it's hard to tell, because I'll slip into this totally different version of myself and I become that person. And so unless there's like actual clapping and hearing, I don't really notice
Yeah.
the audience.
That makes sense.
I have heard after shows complaints.
Oh.
We'll get serious and people will walk up after the show. I'm spilling tea right now. Oh my gosh. They'll walk up to some of us after the show and they'll be like, man, I came here for the sillies. What are you doing being the serious? How very dare you right now? But I don't know. There's something powerful of just being able to make people feel something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I know it caught you off guard, but just give it a second. Let it breathe.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to feel things, you know. It's good to laugh. You know, that releases chemicals in your brains, like your brain, you know, that just make life more, I don't know, a lot more better. But taking a second to just feel something that isn't funny, and just exist like that, it just like, I feel like that brings people together just as much as laughing does.
Absolutely. Have you ever heard of the term catharsis?
I have not.
This is a term I learned in the film and drama classes I took at YVC 10 years ago. But it's a term that refers to the release of essentially pent-up emotions. It was very common in the days of Shakespeare when his plays were on display for people to go there and to cathart to his tragedies and his dramas and his comedies. Laughter is a catharsis as well, but kind of a more common one that you can get from other places. But theater and film have always been very safe places to allow catharsis, and I think that is so beautiful. And I think especially improv, like, that can be even more beautiful because you're so in the moment as an actor, that you can allow the audience into this pure raw moment, unfiltered, you know, unpracticed. Yeah.
I've never been able to put a name to that feeling.
Yeah.
You're so right. Yeah, just like in films and acting, like, oh my gosh. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that term. It's
I've heard the term, but I can't, until now, I didn't know what the exact definition was, so thank you.
Don't quote me on that exact definition, but that's what it means.
Okay.
Oh, I will be. I am going to be.
Merriam-Webster said one thing, but Brooke said it this way.
I like Rick's version better.
Yeah. When I started in improv, everything was about comedy. And it wasn't until like maybe my third or fourth year that we started delving into the dramatic and the emotional vulnerability side of improv. And I was honestly quite uncomfy with that because it's not easy or comfy to do that. So how do you do that? Do you have a process or a mindset that you get into?
Well, I usually only do that if the story calls for it. But, I love when the story calls for it. Because I like to just take a moment on stage and just sit in silence. And that silence will create this tension. And in that tension, it's like I feel it in my chest. And whatever my chest is saying. That sounds ridiculous. But it's true. It's just I'll say whatever that feeling is. I'll just open my mouth and go for it. Sometimes words won't come out. Sometimes it's just like, but like, but it works somehow because that's improv.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing. Just letting that like realness just come from you. I can see how that would work pretty much 100% of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And breathing. That's actually something I learned from Jordan Ross from Doom.
Mm-hmm.
We worked on a film this summer, and I played a really heavily emotional character, and breathing, just how you breathe and focusing on that helps out a lot. And I've applied that to, we're not doing shows right now, but in class at YAS, I've applied that to scenes, and that's really helped out a lot.
Yeah.
Breathing and just sitting in silence and not trying to anticipate what you're going to say next. Just go by instinct, become the other person, just hit the mic. That's what you do.
You heard it here first, folks. Hit the mic. So it sounds like there's a lot of crossover between film acting or theater acting and improv acting.
In my experience, yes, there has been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine too. Do you want to elaborate on some of that?
How do you mean?
Tell us some of the ways that improv has improved or not improved your film acting, and vice versa, like the breathing technique you took back to the improv.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. I think that going by script is really good. I think it's good. You know, you need to know your character. But there will be times on set where you're in that moment and you're feeling it and something comes out. And I think leaving room for improvising while you're acting, in my experience, has been, I don't know, it's just made it a lot. This really isn't a fair question. I'm trying to think back in all my acting, and when I worked with you guys, it's been improv. When I worked with RC, it was improv.
Yeah.
And Doomed, improv. I'm trying to.
Less so with Doomed, though, right?
Less so with
Less
Doomed.
so.
I actually really liked that style. They had a full script that we were meant to memorize. I apologize to Doomed. To this day, I did not do that.
I remember running lines with you in Nathan's front yard under that big tree. That was fun.
Yeah.
It was hot outside.
I think that really helped me though, because if I memorized that, I would have overthought it, all of it. You know, I would have gotten way too in my head, like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to say it. I need to say it exactly like this because this is how I practice it alone in my room or in the bathroom mirror, and it sounded right then, so I need to apply it now, and then just it might not fit. That actually happened with one of the scenes. I like rehearsed it. It was like one of the lines I actually rehearsed, and then I said it the way I rehearsed it, and it was like, that does not fit right there. Let's try and erase what I tried to teach myself and just think about the character and how I said it. And I don't know if they kept it in or not, but but I thought it was better.
Yeah.
I forgot your question. Sorry.
Oh, just how are there any other ways that improv and then any other acting that you've done have kind of like crossed over, and things you learn from one go to the other? But it sounds like you've mostly done improv, whether it's stage or film.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was saying. Yeah, I liked the script because I was able to get into the mindset of the character and know something adjacent to what she was going to say. And then figure out the beats and just say it how I think I would say it. Yeah. Without having to say it through somebody else's words. Though the script was beautiful. Okay, I'm not here to...
The script was great, but I get what you're saying, where like sometimes you like get so in the moment and it's like a slightly different emotion starts coming out and you want to kind of like play that up almost because it's like better for the scene. And sometimes like Harry Potter's a great example. There's this scene in the Chamber of Secrets where little Draco Malfoy looks over at one of his like henchmen and he like why are your glasses, or why are you wearing glasses? And the henchman's like, I was reading. And Draco Malfoy, the actor, forgot his line, but he just stayed totally in character. He was like, I didn't know you could read. And they kept it in, like, brilliant.
Brilliant.
I love that fact.
And everybody knows the Han Solo, I love you, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Because, that was
Yep.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Although, from what I've heard from the behind-the-scenes documentary, they tried, the original line was, I love you too. And they tried that, and it was just, man. So the director, Irving Kershner, was like, okay, cameras roll. Harrison, don't think, go. And they went, and that's what came out of his mouth, and it worked.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Nice.
So, I have a question, something that I thought of in advance. So, with there are being a lot of indie filmmakers kind of in this, really exploring improv currently and going down that route, would you have any advice for how to do that? Maybe with people who haven't been, had all the training and haven't necessarily had that experience that are kind of like trying it out a little more for the first time, or a little people have less experience. How to do improv films or something,
Gosh.
if you have anything.
Wow, that is a big question.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
This won't be recorded forever on the internet.
Let's see. I think definitely breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And in intense scenes, let your words sit. Let there be space. Let there be silence, just for a moment. Because when I first started doing improv, I would just ramble and ramble and ramble and ramble and ramble because I was nervous, because I didn't know what I was going to say next. I didn't know what the other person was going to say next. The other person's going to say something. I'm not going to have a response to that, so I must ramble. And time to ramble, you know. But that's not life. I mean, it can be life for some people.
Those people tend to be annoying.
They can be, but but I also used to be like that. Just letting your character sit. Try not to ramble. I'm trying to think of other things. Yes, and is always like, that's the golden rule. Like, if you're gonna improvise, yes and yes and doesn't have to be literally saying yes and then this. It can just be accepting what the other person is bringing to the table. And no's can be powerful. No's can be very powerful. But I think if you're trying to have your story flourish and just grow, try to agree and just accept and let go of that control, which can be really hard to do.
Yeah.
It can be really hard to do.
Having done 4 improv films now, that control aspect is really hard because you get an idea of what you want, but because there's no script, it can be real hard to get there, whether you're an actor or a director or whatever. Yep. And sometimes it can turn out beautiful, but sometimes it can be real difficult. But yeah, that yes and can be a game changer.
Yeah, that is the golden rule. Like, if you know nothing about improv, you want to do improv, that's going to be the first thing you learn is just yes and. Yeah.
Why don't we give them an example? So if I have here a tall cake with tons of frosting, beautiful, pristine, just brought home from the bakery, and I tell you, this is for Mom, do not touch it, and then I walk away, what would you do?
Do you want me to describe what I'm doing? This is a podcast.
Or just do it. Well, I mean, yeah, you
do
should describe it. This is audio only occasionally.
Okay. She's gone. All right. I'm just going to reach over and I'm going to scoop up this little flower, this little frosted flower. That's mine. They won't miss it. Delicious. Oh, gosh. I took some of the happy birthday letters off of that. Crud. What am I going to do? I'm going to just...
No, that's perfect. That's a perfect example of a yes and. Like, I left
Amazing.
the opportunity open for you to do the bad thing and steal the cake and, like, get the tension up of, like, oh, no, is she going to come back and yell at her or what's going to happen? And that was beautiful. A no would have been like, oh, I was told not to touch this cake. I'm just going to stare at it. Actually, that could be interesting, too.
Yes. That could actually be a yes. Just stare at it. And
The world
that's
is your
yes.
oyster. You can do whatever.
Just accepting that the cake is there
Yeah.
is the yes. And.
That's true. A true no would be more like, that's not a cake, that's a turtle.
Brooke, it's a turtle that has good energy from the turtle shaman.
No one else understands that joke.
Sorry, it's an
I
Alchemy of
like it.
Souls reference.
I like inside jokes.
You should watch
I'd like to
Alchemy
be a
of
part of
Souls.
one someday. Oh, that's how. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a turtle in season 2.
Yes.
It's great.
For like, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. But anyway.
Oh, man.
Oh, and opposites as well. Like you said, don't touch the cake. You walk away and touch the cake because that's silly. And I think opposites can be very powerful. And
So, do you mean by doing the opposite of what somebody said, or
By
what
doing
is?
the
Yeah.
opposite or just something contrary to what they said.
Okay.
I think
So, like, the
Creating
audience-
conflict, kind of.
creating
Mhm.
conflict.
Yeah. The audience has this expectation of, like, this person said, gave a command. Is this person going to listen to them or not?
Mm-hmm. Pause
Mm.
for dramatic effect.
Breathe.
Breathe for dramatic effect.
Then do the opposite. Chaos. Chaos is always the answer.
Well, we are getting near our time
Guideline.
guideline. I almost said limit, but that's not right.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for someone who might be wanting to join improv or is interested but might be kind of scared or nervous about the whole improv part about it? What advice would you have?
I think just taking the steps to go and observe. And like here in Yakima YAS, they have drop-in classes. Even if you don't participate a lot, I think just being there do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. And like I said, like we were saying with yes and, that's kind of the mindset of all improvisers, is just yes and. So it's such an accepting group of people. Like YAS has people of different race, different genders, different ages. It's just a whole bunch of people who come from all these different backgrounds together in this group to create art. That's really what it is. You're just creating art, and it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, embracing the flaws is first of all, it's how you learn, but it's also, it's beautiful. It's something that I think everybody should try to do. It's just don't be nervous. Just go for it, and it's okay to mess up, and it's okay to learn.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we all start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, YIS, the Yakima Improv Society, to my knowledge, is still the only improv group performing right now. We used to have Manic Thunder. They disbanded a couple years ago. And now we have the Yakima Improv Society. So what are the dates that you guys perform, or the days of the week? When does that start? What time? How much? All the deets.
Okay, so we actually just switched to Saturday night improv.
Ooh.
I am going to really quickly just look at my phone.
That's okay.
We're starting back up in February in Glenwood Square in the theater, above Zesta.
Zesta Cucina?
I think we start at 8, doors at 7:30. We have concessions for fairly
Popcorn,
cheap,
soda,
fresh
candy.
popcorn.
That popcorn's good.
It's so good. We have I think we have shirts and stuff we're selling now,
Oh,
which is
wow.
really exciting. We
Merch.
got merch. No, we do have shirts. I said I think. I thought, and we do. Yeah. February, we're starting back up again with What is Love? And
What is love being the theme of the month?
yes, that is the
Nice.
format we are going with.
And every month you guys do a different theme, right?
We do.
That is super exciting. So catch one show a month, you'll get all the cool themes.
Mm-hmm. They
Nice.
change for season.
You might have already said this, but maybe I was spacing out. What's the cost?
Oh, thank you. Yes, $5. $10.
$10.
That's what I was gonna look up on my phone.
Okay.
I was like, that's rude.
I think $10 is correct.
Okay.
$10
Yeah.
is correct.
Better to come prepared with 10 than under prepared with 5.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Which, for the quality of show you're getting, $10 is a steal. They are fantastic performers, and
Mhm.
I'm totally not biased because I used to perform with them.
I'm biased because I do perform with them. Come see our shows. $10 in Glenwood Square. This is maybe a threat.
Oh, no. We don't want to know what happens. Yeah.
I will yes and you to the grave.
All right, all that information
Sweet.
one more time. Glenwood Square, Saturday nights, all year long, starting in February. $10, and it's fantastic. We'll put all that information in the description below, if we can. And yeah, that is super exciting. Make sure to catch the Yakima Improv Society and VaNessa on the main stage. She's
Yes.
probably one of the best actresses that I've ever known.
She just
So.
gassing me up because I'm here.
I say that to everyone, actually. Yeah, so thank you, VaNessa, so much for being on this podcast. I feel like even though I already knew everything, I feel like this was just a really nice refresher, for me to just relearn all this information because I haven't done it in so long. But thank you so much for sharing all this information for someone who may want to do improv. I hope you do, person who wants to do improv.
Yes. Oh, before we go, we have an outro question, which is hilarious because VaNessa already answered it. I did not even remember that that's what I had put for the outro question when you gave me your quick fact. So, audience and Brooke and I can answer, are you a night owl or are you a morning person? VaNessa is not a morning person, as made very clear earlier today.
I am also not a morning person. I try really hard to be ish, 7 a.m. is really early for me. But definitely a night owl all the way.
I am a morning person.
I respect that.
Thanks.
Could not be me, but I respect it.
I just because of life and everything, I typically tend to stay up later more than I get up earlier because that's the way
I mean, your
society
besties are also night
flows,
owls.
and you guys, yes, and various other things. But I do function best in the morning.
How do you
Yeah,
do
I
it?
do.
How do you stay?
Yeah,
all
how do you
late
just
and
wake
then
up and be
wake
awake?
Up at 5?
I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't
Also
know these
that.
things.
Also,
I wake up and then I have to spend 2 hours waking up.
I'm not usually awake till like 11:30. I'm awake,
Sure.
like physically, but only half physically, and not at all mentally.
The
till, like,
legs move,
11:30.
the eyes kind of move, the
It's
mouth
scary.
makes noise.
It's really scary driving the mornings. Like,
Oh
I
man.
switched to earlier hours, and
Oh.
so I'm on the road by like 6,
Ooh.
and it's terrifying. Sometimes I'm like, I might crash.
Wow.
Does caffeine help you, or does it like
Yes, I drink. I drink a coffee pot a day,
nice?
full
Wow.
glass and all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Caffeine relaxes me, so I don't get to drink caffeine in the morning because I just go back to sleep.
That's why you put just an unholy amount of sugar in there. Just
That's at which point I'll just drink hot chocolate
There you
instead of
go.
like a coffee. Anyways, let us know if you're a night person or a morning person, and start the war over that, if you will.
start the war.
Start the war.
World War III in the comments section over here.
The night owls versus the morning people. No one will ever see conflict. It'll all just happen while the others
I
sleeping.
mean, morning people are small. Our numbers may be small, but we are mighty because we are very productive when you guys are asleep. So we could
Hey,
technically
so
wipe
are
you
we.
all out. We
It
could
just
wipe
depends
you
on
all
what time
out.
of day we start.
Fair.
No, I will wait you out. That's the thing.
That's
like
true.
I'm a night person, but I'm also a morning person because I'm up till like 4 or 5 in the morning just because I can't effing sleep.
Okay. That sounds awful.
It's a party. Honestly, it's a party.
I'm glad you think so. Okay.
Thank you again, VaNessa, for joining us.
Thank you.
And yeah, I think that's all we have for you audience people today. So we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.